we're calling this press conference on several, I think, important matters. Some of you may have followed the development last week, but what developed last week, some of them will take place this week. Now, the most important one is what Tan Sri Fuzi, the former IGP, has testified. I think for the first time, you know that there is a witness who testified to the fact that hardly 5 days after the change of government, remember the election was on the 9th of May 2018. So hardly 5 days later, Dr. Mahathir had already called Tan Sri Fuzi and the Commercial Crime Division to give him a briefing. He hasn't even moved into his office yet. Yeah? He wanted a briefing on the 1MDB and SRC. And that was held at the if I'm not mistaken, Yayasan Kepimpinan Perdana, which was his private office, more or less. Yeah. Now, Tan Sri Fuzi said he was, Tun Mahathir was not happy, rather upset with the fact that he thought there was no progress pertaining to the investigation and the lack of charging anyone with respect to those cases. In particular, he was asking about why Datuk Sri Najib was not charged. Okay, you remember Tan Sri Fuzi emphasized that. Then what transpired was, you know, the evidence from the senior officer who was, what's his name? Mr. Rajagopal, who was the senior investigator in the commercial crime. And he testified that he took over the briefing. And he informed Dr. Mahathir that it is not as easy as that, because with respect to 1MDB, the investigation would have to go international, global, because documents are all over the place. And they have hardly managed to get documents like that from overseas as they expected. It will take some time. And Dr. Mahathir also, for the first time, realized that the investigation is not that easy. Okay? But he was nevertheless rather impatient. The second time, Dr. Mahathir demanded another briefing by the same police team. This was undertaken at Dr. Mahathir's house. I think it was on in the month of June, is it? July 2018. Yes, July 2018, at his house at the mines. And the agenda was the same. Why was the Datuk Sri Najib still have not been charged? Okay. So, this went on. So the briefing went on, but Dr. M was not happy. Yeah, I can say that without adding anything anymore. This is what the witness said. Now, then that is not all, because Tan Sri Mohidin Yassin also participated in this independently on the 23rd of July 2018. He called up the same police officers, including the IGP. He too wanted to be briefed why the delay of charging Datuk Sri Najib. So you see, the target is always been Datuk Sri Najib, and why the delay. Now, and then that is not all. Tun Daim Zainuddin also joined in on the 9th of August 2018. He too wanted to know what is the delay, why Datuk Sri Najib has not been charged. Now, you know, Datuk Sri Najib finally was charged in July 2018, which is just after Tan Sri Muhyiddin spoke. Yeah, he was charged. And then Tun Daim was in August. And then in September, the 1MDB case, Datuk Sri Najib was charged. Okay, so no doubt there is no instruction by any of these three persons to do certain thing against Datuk Sri Najib, but the police were quite clearly put under pressure to complete the investigation and to charge Datuk Sri Najib. And this, as you know, we have always said that the charging against Datuk Sri Najib has been done in a hurry to such an extent that you remember his statement was taken in the morning. Straight away from the statement room, he was taken up and charged in court. That is unusual because, as you know, when an accused person gives a statement, you're supposed to follow up with an investigation to see whether what he claims to be his defense is true. Because it may be true. If it is true, then of course you don't charge him. But if you don't care, you take his statement only for the sake of taking it, and you do not treat it as a defense in a substantial or substantive way, then that will not be a fair investigation. And as you know, an unfair investigation always leads to an unfair trial. I don't need to add any more to that. Yeah? Then there's a second issue. You remember Ki Kok Tiam. Ki Kok Tiam was a witness that came into Malaysia through a process of surrender. And after his statement was taken by the police, about a week or two later, I'm not too sure, but very soon after that, he died, apparently of heart attack. Okay? So he died. Now, Ki Kok Tiam's name came up not so long ago during this trial because, what's her name? Jasmine Lu said sometime in early 2015, she was in London in the Mayfair Hotel where she suddenly moved into the business center. She saw Jolo. She saw Dr. Sham, sometimes called Dr. Sam, Dr. Samshul. And then she also saw Dennis C. But what she saw was, she said, she saw Ki Kok Tiam in the computer was making a letter up pertaining to the donation. Of course, we have got other evidence to show that clearly that cannot be the case because these letters have already gone to the bank much earlier. But Ki Kok Tiam is important because we have just managed to put in Ki Kok Tiam's statement, and there's nothing in Ki Kok Tiam's statement that the police have asked him pertaining to that very important episode. So you can draw the necessary inference why the police or the MACC have not asked Ki Kok Tiam sebelum dia meninggal. So ask him, is this true regarding the matter? Or even if they didn't know earlier, Ki Kok Tiam himself would have been more, how would I say, more forward in mentioning the fact that he saw, or rather he participated in the making up of the letter of the Arabic donation. But none of that. So that supports our case of the donation letter being genuine and real. Yeah, in fact, he never even mentioned about London. He mentioned about going to all the Asian countries, Macau, Thailand, I'm not sure about Myanmar and Cambodia and all that. He mentioned all that. He never even mentioned that he went to London. Ki Kok Tiam. Okay? The last person is Roger Ng. You know, Roger Ng is, we're playing hide and seek initially because we're saying he's being kept here. He's being kept by the witness protection, right up from the director of witness protection has been saying that, or rather they have not been wanting to confirm that. So it has been like a ping pong. But finally, we are happy to say that Roger Ng is being brought next week for us to produce him as a witness so that we can ask him a lot of details pertaining to what he knows about the actors, the real actors in the 1MDB punya scandal. And perhaps he may even be able to say that Datuk Sri Najib, as far as he is concerned, is not involved. All right, these are the three serious items that I thought I should let you know. Okay? Any question? Not yet. Not yet. Not in person. He will be brought in next week, I think, on a day. Well, we asked to be interviewed. You know, the law about interviewing a witness has been misinterpreted everywhere. If I subpoena you, you can volunteer to allow me to interview you. And why is interview important? Interview is important, one, for the person who calls him. In this case, Datuk Sri Najib. Datuk Sri Najib will have an early idea of what the witness may be saying. What is his value? But people have forgotten, it is also important to the witness. Because can you imagine, you as a witness, you just suddenly plonk yourself on top of the witness box, or rather in the witness box, not knowing what is coming, and you are asked question and you are supposed to answer. So if you know, because of the interview, you are better prepared. I am better prepared. He is better prepared. So the law has always been that they leave it to the witness to allow himself to be interviewed. People should not discourage a witness by threatening the witness or by telling the witness, you're not obliged to be interviewed. That is wrong, because assisting lawyers, assisting DPPs always promotes the truth-finding process in the court better. Okay? All right. Anything else? Any other question? That's it. Yes.
The matter of the addendum. Earlier, I think a few months ago, you mentioned that Datuk Sri Najib might make it back home to serve his rest of his sentence within a month.
Yes.
That was, I think, about 3 months ago.
3 months ago.
Do
Yeah.
you have any updates so far on that? What's the progress of that, sir?
Okay. Although I don't want to comment on this initially, but since you raised this topic, what I will say is this. One, of course, we are disappointed that the addendum has not been enforced. I think all of you now know the addendum exists. The question is, why not enforce it? So when I said within a month, I was expecting everybody to be reasonable. There is an addendum from nothing less than the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. So enforcement should be done. That's why I was confident and I said 1 month. Okay?
That hearing is going to be next week, right?
Hearing of? Is it?
28, the decision in the game.
28, the decision, yeah.
Tan Sri, just to confirm with you, just now you mentioned that Roger Ng will be brought to court next week. Is for his interview purpose first, or?
Well, if he allows himself to be interviewed, we can interview half an hour or maybe 1 hour. Then we call him straight as a witness.
Can we expect any statement from him?
Any problem?
Can we expect any witness statement from him?
He doesn't allow to be interviewed, how to prepare witness statement.
He doesn't have to be interviewed.
If assuming he does not want to be interviewed, how to prepare witness statement? So that's a third point. If he allows himself to be interviewed, I can prepare his witness statement.
If he doesn't want to be interviewed, will defense still call him up?
Yes, yes. Because he has given testimony in New York. Bear in mind, he was convicted in New York, 10 years imprisonment. So he has got very little room to maneuver. I just wanted to highlight some of the things that was found against him. Yeah, you must remember, this defense of Datuk Sri Najib, if you follow the story, is that, why are you looking at Datuk Sri Najib? or why are you looking at him alone? When the entire board of directors failed, the management not only failed but misled the board. The banks were themselves in the act of dishonesty, and Islamic, for instance. And then you have the American bank who are advisors, Goldman Sachs. They were dishonest. They were involved in fraud and conspiracy and so on and so on. And now we also know about the Bank Negara, punya governor and her family. So our defense is, why are you looking at Datuk Sri Najib alone? In fact, you shouldn't be looking at him, because those people who committed the offences are now mere witnesses. And Datuk Sri Najib is the only one facing the music. Okay?
That's it. Maksudnya tim pembelaan Datuk Sri Najib masih fokus on addendum lah.
Yes.
Pengampunan penuh macam mana? Nazib?
Pengampunan penuh, we work on the basis of the addendum first, but we are going to give a little time whether or not we want to go further to the pengampunan penuh. Yeah. We can always do it, but not at the moment.